Quand mon réveil sonne, ma vie rêve d'évasion. Direction l'aéroport pour voyager vers le sun. On prend l'avion, pas de première.
Oh, I love this car. Oh man, I can never get enough of that. Full of potassium. 3, 2, 1. You told me not to bring any more French cars.
I know. Still French.
Quand mon réveil sonne, ma vie rêve d'évasion. Direction l'aéroport pour voyager vers le sun. On prend l'avion, pas de première classe, mais coca, whisky sans modération. Plateau, repas, pas si dégueulasse, je ne fais pas d'indigestion. Débarquement, casquette, claquette et bon son à fond. Short, t-shirt, rien à foutre comme d'hab, on se positionne sans faire publication. Apéro improvisé sur plage dorée, premier plongeon. Le ciel se couche devant nos yeux, nos cœurs résonnent à l'unisson.
Rally baby! So yeah, good morning everybody. Welcome to another sick little monkey episode. Today I am actually driving my first car. It's not my actual first car, because you OG viewers will know that I actually crashed my 106 Rally within 2 weeks of owning it. Absolute numpty. I tried to do a massive handbrake turn. I was coming down quite a sort of notorious road that's got 180-degree bends. And like I said, I thought I was Colin McRae, and I'd seen him do it on the Rally videos. So I come around the corner, yanked the handbrake, and it was, to be fair, quite a sick little slide. I kind of got halfway around the corner. Being a little front-wheel drive car, the car locked up, gripped up, and then went straight into a tree. This one is near on identical, bar a couple of little cheeky mods. It's had an exhaust mod, a catback exhaust from Peugeot Sport, and it's also had a few little mods done to the air intake. Apart from that though, the car is completely standard. As you guys can tell, these things literally scream. They rev to 7,000 RPM, which back in the day was an absolute screaming. A lot of you rally nuts will know they had to produce a certain amount of cars to be able to enter cars into different classes. Hence we had the birth of the 106 Rally. These little TU motors are quite special. They're a 1.34 pot from factory. They came with a bespoke intake manifold, high lift cam, and a custom high compression head as well. I'll do a little standing start so you guys can see what the acceleration is about. I do have a Mark II subframe in the back, so there's a bit of extra weight, but it should give you a little idea. As you can see, for a little 1.3, they do rip. The main analogy with this car, yeah, it's got 100 horsepower. It's not massive horsepower, but the car is so light. The power to weight ratio is really, really strong. Yeah, there's loads of cars out there with massive horsepower, but with something like this, you can really drive it to its maximum potential. Oh, I love this car. Oh man, I can never get enough of that. This is actually a Mark 1 or a Phase 1 Rally. They did actually do a Mark 2 or a Phase 2, which was a 1.6. Slightly bigger capacity. It was still an 8 valve as well.
Ανταγωνιστής του Rallye, πλάκα κάνεις. Peugeot 106 Rallye, το καθαρό αίμο. 105 EP, 3.725.000. Τι άλλο να οδηγήσεις.
Quite often you'd find with these 8 valve motors is people would source a 106 GTI cylinder head or one from a Citroen Saxo VTS, which was the same as well, and they'd actually use that head and turn the car into a 16 valve. You would lose a little bit of torque low down, but obviously you gain torque higher up in the rev range, so it was quite a nice conversion. It did kind of change the characteristics of the car a little bit, but needless to say, it was a pretty trick thing to do. This specific Rally is in red, as you guys can see. It's actually in really nice condition. I did go and look at a couple of them One was extremely rusty, and the other one was just battered. It had loads of dents over it. It needed a respray. And when I found this, I had to have it. It was actually resprayed a year ago in its original colours. As you guys can see from the paintwork, it's in really fantastic condition. The interior is also in lovely condition as well. There's a little bit of fading on the dash, which is quite common with these. Obviously the plastics aren't the sort of highest of quality items, and they do fade with the sun. Apart from a couple of little blemishes though, the interior is really nice. Nom nom, banana. Monkey loves bananas. Full of potassium. And there we have it, one beautiful little Rallye. Original Rallye stripes as well. And down the side of the door, that was all original from factory. White steel wheels as well, which are really cool. These came white from the factory. They do have a little bit of corrosion, a little bit of sort of surface rust on them. Rallye badging to the back. Peugeot Sport exhaust here, which is in lovely condition. Aftermarket suspension. We've got Bilsteins on the rear and Bilsteins on the front. You've also got a rear torsion bar as well, which really gave them that very unique handling characteristics. Fairly practical, these cars. You can kind of use them for your shopping. That's the Mark II subframe I was on about, which is pretty heavy, so if the car does look a little bit slower than it should be, that's probably why, because weight does really affect these cars. You can really notice the difference when you're by yourself. The thing literally rips. As soon as you put someone in it, it's not massively slower, but you can noticeably feel a difference. Quickly show you guys inside. We've got original 106 Rallye mats. Those are the seats, in pretty good nick to be fair. Original Rallye pedals, like I said, there's a couple of little marks. There you go. I suppose it's actually not really a hot rock, that's actually where someone's just been wearing it or sitting down on it. This is the back of the car, so you have got quite a bit of room. I mean, you could definitely fit 4 adults in this car, not for sort of massive journeys. I wouldn't recommend driving to the south of France on it. A couple of little frays and stuff, which I did notice were advisories on the MOT, but not disastrous and not a failure. Just to give you guys an idea on how lightweight these cars really were from factory. These weren't options. This is literally as the car came. So you had a blanking plate for the stereo, obviously to reduce the weight of the stereo. They even got rid of the cigarette lighter and put a plastic blanking plate in its place. You've got armatronic windows instead of electric windows. There's no anti-lock brakes and there's no power steering as well, all in the aid of making the car as light as possible. The steering is pretty light. Obviously, if you do go and put bigger wheels on these, it will make the steering a little bit heavier, but I would personally leave it as it is. I think it looks great with the little white wheels. Oh, I forgot to mention as well, the gearbox is actually a short ratio specific Rallye gearbox for this car. Coming back into something like this is a real blast from the past, and it really kind of makes you appreciate what these older cars are about. What's strange with modern day cars as well, like if you go and buy a Porsche GT3 for example, and you want to get it stripped out, or the lighter version, so they remove equipment and they charge you more money for the process. This car was the opposite. They removed the equipment and they charged you less. Prices for these things have gone absolutely wild. To get a mint low mileage Mark 1, you're looking at well over 10 grand these days. And the Mark 2s go for a little bit more as well. You can find sort of really doggy ones for maybe 6-7 grand, but you will need to spend some money and sort them out, so it probably is better to buy one that's a little bit more expensive with a few more bits done to it. We'll just get John to do a little 0 to 60, see what she's all about. 3, 2, 1. I think 0 to 60 on these was around about 7 or 8 seconds. I'm sure we'll find out when we watch it back in the video. And top speed was 115 miles an hour, which is more than enough in a little lightweight tin can. Fuel lights on. We'll do a second gear rolling start. This is 4,500 RPM. Fuel was very cheap as well. MPG on this is probably going to be in the region of about 35 to 40 when you're not gassing it. If you want to kind of run to the local shops or do a little trip, it's the ideal little daily runaround. One thing you can say is on the motorway or on the freeway, this will sit at quite high RPM. I think you'll be at about 4,500 at 70 miles an hour. So ideally it's really better around little sort of B roads and A roads, but certainly if you need to take up the motorway, it's not going to be disastrous. I believe they only made these in 3 colours, I think I'm right in saying. It was red, black and white. And then with the Mark II or the Phase 2, they came in white, blue or black. I don't think they did red. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. But I think there was only 3 available colours for each Mark. Carson Performance. And there he is. Nice girls.
Hello.
We've got Doggy today. You told me not to bring any more French cars.
I know. Clearly you got a problem with listening. Maybe if I talk to you in French, you might listen.
Come on, man. 106 Rallye, what do you think?
It's pretty cool.
It is cool, man. Let's open the hood so we can show Scouts what a proper engine is.
Still French.
This is the little TU motor we were talking about. Like I said, it's got a custom intake manifold, high lift cam, high compression cylinder head as well. I had a little look earlier on, and the 1.3 they produce 100 horsepower, but the 1.6 only produced I think 102 or 103, so it's only a little bit more horsepower, maybe just to kind of counteract the extra weight of the Phase 2. What are your 206 pedals like? Are they really close together like those ones?
Not as close as this, yeah. I used to remember when I used to always have to wear work boots. You go to like brake and accelerate at the same time, so you'd be like
red carpets as well.
What's this?
Stereo blanking plate. That's how it came from factory, man, to make it lighter. Look at the cigarette lighter. Hasn't even got cigarette lighter. Has a blanking plate for the cigarette lighter. No power steering, obviously no aircon, Omotronic windows.
No sat nav.
Definitely not.
Wasn't that standard in the original 106?
And no anti-lock brakes either. So it literally is just you and the handbrake. That pretty much ends today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the 106 Rallye. Bye from me. Bye from this, my better looking counterpart. Love you guys very much.